Good morning. It is June 1st on a Thursday, 9 o'clock in the year 2023. Windows Daily number, don't have my buttons right here, 228. Should have a refresh here and be able to get an audio confirmation. Should have a refresh. Here it is. That other tab is already muted. And here's the chat room. Hello, chat room. How are you doing? Speedy C says first for once. That would be because you're speedy, right? Dennis was like number 3. Nick Boverman, why did the cows keep returning to the field of marijuana? It was the pot calling the cattle back. I misread that the first time around. I read it, the pot calling the kettle back black. Then realized, oh, good twist, good clever twist of words there. Mark Baggett, hello. Rick Lakes. William Dawson. Hello. Mike Wojcik. Ran Israel, hello. Brian Lightfoot. Good morning. Another sunshiny day in the Central Valley of California farm country. Moo. William Dawson. Hi, Brain. It's not Brian Lightfoot. It's Brain Lightfoot. Hello, William, and all the other homies. Nick Poverman, the smoke is gone from fires in Canada, but my vertigo is still kicking my butt. Going back to the doctor after working from home today. Nicholas Hooks. Hi there, Dung. Says, I'm doing okay. Juan Dog. I be here, Doug, but I should be outside because technically the wind has finally stopped. It has been a horrendous windstorm for the last few days. I have some gardening to do. Doug, what are you going to talk about today? Well, the first thing on my list is something I heard Greg Guy is going through right now with the Navy Federal website that he's not able to get to it. He gets server not responding or some kind of message. Oh, by the way, watch on the table. Phone in the cradle. Cats in the cradle. Well, I got some thoughts about that I didn't hear discussed from Ken Stout's show last night. So the way I understand it is Greg Guy can't get to this website. And there were some other websites that he couldn't get to. And now one of those he can get to. And it's something that I found particularly interesting is he says a couple of his neighbors are able to get to the Navy Federal website. And they're using the same ISP as Greg. So I'm going to give some ideas here to consider as possible issues. Well, let's start with your DNS servers compared to your neighbors. If I did the ipconfig/all, and this is going to reveal, among other things, what DNS servers you're using. So I'm wondering if your neighbors are using different DNS servers than you are, Greg. Now, even if Greg already has this problem resolved, this is an interesting topic to talk through and discuss. DNS server settings could be set based on your computer itself. I'm right-clicking on the network icon down in the bottom right corner and then choose Open Network and Internet Settings and then change adapter options and then right-click on your network adapter, whichever one you are using, and then go to the IP protocol version 4 properties. And if you have a specific DNS set in here, that could make you have a different DNS server setting than your neighbors. But this also could be controlled from your router. Your router might have specific DNS server settings that are different than the default for your ISP, and your neighbors are using the default DNS servers. Another thing you may do here is remove the protocol version 6. So that'll force your computer to use IPv4. And now there's some nuances there about the differences that makes once you start communicating over the internet. I'm not quite sure of that, but that can be an option to try there. Now there's also the hosts file that I'm not going to go into because it's so highly unlikely that has been modified for your Navy. I forgot what that was called. Navy Federal site. Now, another thing to do would be to do a ping for Navy Federal to see what IP address your computer is resolving Navy Federal to. And this is whether or not you're using the same DNS servers as your neighbors. So Navy, am I spelling that right? Navy federal.org, I believe was the name of it. Going back here to check, yeah, navyfederal.org. And do a ping for that. That's going to show you what IP address your computer is resolving that to. If you're able to find out what your neighbors are resolving that to, it'd be interesting to see if they have the same IP address. Because a website could have load balancing involved and have multiple different computers that you might be connecting through. But that if you're using the same DNS servers, I believe that's going to be the same across all of them. Then the next thing to do would be to do a trace route. That's trace RT, and then put in that IP address that it resolved to, and see how that's working. Now that takes a little bit to run, a little bit of time to run through. So I already have the results of that open on another screen over here. I'll come over here. I found that interesting that 3 of the hits timed out. That could be causing a problem if there is some servers, some DNS servers or internet routers between you and Navy Federal that are overloaded or somehow not working. I'm not quite sure what would cause this request timeout during a trace route when I am able to get to Navy Federal. Now let's go back to the one that I just started and see how it's doing. See, it's having these request timeouts again. Right after that Border 101. Border 101, San Jose, California. I'm going to guess that SJC is for. And it's still struggling to get through that. Yeah, did I have anything else to say on that topic? I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers the thoughts that were on my mind. The DNS settings for your computer, what DNS servers are being used, and your neighbors, what DNS servers are being used, and then the various places that those settings are configured. Zavi Minor, tired sitting. Yeah, I was struggling with a headache this morning, and yeah, so I am seated in the chair. Chris Garrett says, I just heard a loud boom. Was it from me? Brian, I wonder if Mini Doug will make an appearance today. I'm watching the eyeglass stand today. Really? The eyeglass stand? I don't see any Mini Doug on the eyeglass stand. Sneaks into room, Selden Ball. Rick Lake, still think it's resolved yet. William Dawson says, hello, Greg. Ryan Israel, that just means that some of the routers in between do not respond to pings. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that routers that are actually routing traffic, it seems to me that they ought to be like required to respond to pings. So apparently that's not an issue. I don't do trace routes frequently enough to know if that's a common thing or not. Brian Lightfoot, I had the same exact results with the ping to navyfederal.org, including the 3 timeouts. Oh, interesting. And so, yeah, that kind of makes it, if those are stable and consistent, that would make it seem like that is the case, that those particular routers do not respond to pings. And being at different places around the world, as we're getting close to number 15 here, close to the destination, it could be the case that we all go through those same routers, even though your early communications are likely to be different than mine. Because this starts with Van Ness, that's in Fresno. This one's in Fresno. This one's in Los Angeles. So the first, 6, 7, or 8 of these are likely to be different for all of us that are trying from different parts of the country or different parts of the world. Rand Israel says, try using a VPN or proxy rule to rule out ISP issues. Well, I think he's already ruled out ISP issues since his neighbors are using the same ISP. I'm more inclined to think that it could be his in-house router or his individual computer. Nick Poverman, mini Doug on the switch box. On the switch box. So this switch box over here, I don't see any mini Doug on the switch box. Timeouts are normal. Switches or other devices are sometimes configured to not respond to pings as a security protection. Sure. Can you flush the DNS? Well, that's a good point. Let's see. Remind me of the command. Is it just flush DNS? I don't do that often enough to know it. I think it's IP config, and then is there some parameters to give to that to flush DNS? Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Flush DNS. ipconfig /flush DNS. So ipconfig /flush DNS. Try calling that in a card game. Now somebody else gives a straight. I have a flush DNS. Who's to say which one wins? Successfully flush DNS resolver. So that's another thing for Greg to do. The potential there is that the DNS could be cached on Greg's computer, and it has a certain resolution of an IP address. Now, if I'm making this up in my head, I'm just deducing, making up, deducing here. It's possible that Navy Federal had a different IP address in the past, and Greg's computer had that IP address in its DNS cache. And so when Greg's computer is trying to communicate with that, it's sending out to that IP address. But that IP address for Navy Federal has been changed. So Greg's computer is still using the old IP address. So that would be the reason to flush DNS, I think. How about that? Do you think that's a reasonable explanation? Zavi Manor, I think Akami, whatever, responsible for advertisements links. Akami, I think I know how to pronounce that. I can't think of it. Both Doug and I resolved the IP to 104. something. I believe Greg and others resolved to the 23 something or other. Nick says LOL for something. IP config flush DNS. Brian, the brain. Yes, first thing we had Greg do was flush DNS. So he's already done that. Mini Doug is fast. Still on that Mini Doug kick. What? Doug, do you think trying the Windows Network Troubleshooter might be worth trying? Generally speaking, kind of resets everything when it comes to your internet connection. Seems painless to try. Sure, that's a possibility. I don't know for sure that would do it. Let's see, I did Windows key and then troubleshooting settings. And you'd be looking for additional troubleshooters here. And you'd want to get to the network troubleshooting. I suspect that would be flushing DNS as part of the troubleshooting. Let's see, get up and running. Internet connection. Find and fix problems with connecting to the internet. So yes, you could run the troubleshooter. Now, I don't want to do that while I'm live streaming because I think that's going to turn off my network adapter and turn it back on. So yeah, that would be another possibility. Chris Garrett, I just created a PDF book with my scanner, scanned several pages of a book to PDF, then went in and combined. I guess that's all of that sentence. Cool. Let's see. I'll catch this orange. Hi, Doug in chat. My YouTube name, Speedy C, has two meanings. One, computers, aka Speedy hard drive. Two, because I'm also a wheelchair user, I am poking fun at myself. I heard about verifying that I unmuted. See, I learned a lesson because of that. I don't like them watching over my shoulder all the time. What was I talking about? Oh, and Alex Cheek was demonstrating his Speedy wheelchair in one of those big box warehouse stores when Ken was over there to visit. So that I hit the orange. Bobby says, I tried Navy Federal last night on the Zoom homies. It worked. For Bobby, it worked. And Chris is saying that he thinks it's on Greg's end. Yeah, I'm thinking too. I think it's his computer, his router, since his neighbors with the same ISP are coming up with the same thing. So the network cache, the DNS settings on the computer, DNS settings on his router, the network troubleshooter. Nick Poverman was laughing about mini dung. Lawn Dog, how is he getting to the login website manually through the browser like me? I typically go through my Bitwarden password manager, which will take me there automatically. Well, now I had a client with a similar, well, an issue worth talking about. My client called me saying that she's got a bunch of pop-up virus warning messages. So I just talked her through restarting the computer, and it came back up fine. A few minutes later, she calls me back, and she tells me it came back. And she says what she was doing is she went back to her Amazon, her search history, her Google search history, where she had searched for Amazon. And she clicked on the link for Amazon, and these phony virus infections came up. Well, I talked her through going up to the address bar in her browser, which was Google Chrome, and typed Amazon.com. And that got her to it. And I explained to her that you really shouldn't do Google searches for websites that you want to go to. If you do that, you have to be careful about the site that they actually come up with, because apparently she was getting something else. Now here's an about Amazon.com. That's probably legitimate. That's probably not going to get a fake site. Amazon Jobs, that's probably legit too. But you can come up with other Amazon search hits if something about it might there could be an extension that has been added to a browser, and I have not checked for that yet, where it's a search helper kind of thing, and it actually feeds you compromised sites in the search results, and so you didn't get to actual Amazon.com. But that's a legitimate question of what is Greg clicking on to get to the Navy Federal. I think he's actually clicking it into the address bar, but I don't know that. Let's see. So I read that already. Windows Scan app. Oh, Scan app is what Chris was using for his PDF book. Windows Scan app. Seems like there's a scan application in Windows itself that you made a book out of. That seems strange, because all of the scan applications I've seen that are native to Windows have not scanned to PDF. You would need something additional software for that. So, Chris, I'm interested specifically what do you mean Windows Scan app? If I do the Windows key, scan a document or a picture, and I go to Scan app here, let's see, that gives me here this Windows Fax and Scan app. If I do a new scan, no scanners detected. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate what you can scan to, because I would think this is only going to scan, that this is not going to give you an option for scanning to PDF. I don't see that I can demonstrate that there. Let's see if Chris gives me anything else on that yet. Not yet. I recommend Greg to factory reset his computer. No. That's way too extreme for this issue. This is a fairly minor issue. I think he can get around easier than doing a factory reset, because then he's got to do whatever other configurations and software installations. Chris says, would him using proxy VPN? Well, that's a workaround. That might solve the problem. Now, I mean, that might be a workaround to get to the credit union. I don't recollect what browser using. It seems to me like he's using Firefox. I don't know if he's tried other browsers. I think you guys already know that. But that wouldn't be solving the actual problem. That would only be a workaround. Chris saying to Bobby, that would be a last resort for the factory reset. I totally agree with that. And you could even try creating a new user account on his computer without wiping out anything currently present. If it works on a new user account, then that would indicate that there's something about his user account that's the issue. But I'd first want to know about the DNS settings and the ping result. Do you get the same IP address the rest of us get? Mistype the website name is a common way. Brian, I don't think that's what Greg is happening, because I think he actually showed his screen. Yes, he did, actually, and I brought that up just before going live here. I think he showed, actually back here, he showed one that he got to successfully. Fidelity, he got to successfully. And I'm pretty sure he showed another, his actual attempt to go to Navy Federal, and we could see it typed in the browser. Just scrolling across here trying to find it. Should show up in that thumbnail when I find it. Or it might have been so brief. And I might be totally wrong. Nope, not seeing it. Well, Doug, on the subject of searching, let's see, did I read this one? The strange access denied error is found on a Google search. Their first recommendation is to flush the DNS, but also state the error is prevalent on Firefox. Greg gets the same error on different browsers. Okay, so if he's getting on different browsers, then that takes me back to the DNS issue. Ping the name of the website and see what IP address you get, and then do a trace route and compare your DNS servers to the neighbors. Well, Doug, on the subject of searching, or another possibility is just put in different DNS addresses. A real good thing to put in would be the Google addresses of, let's see, what is it? Yeah, 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.6.6. Is that right? I think it's Google DNS servers. Should get it here. Change to 8.8.8. What's the other one? Oh, 1.1.1.1. That's a good way to go too. I thought there was a secondary for Google. Am I wrong? Oh, here it is. 8.8.8 or 8 and 8.8.4.4 as your secondary, and see if that makes a difference. Well, Doug, on the subject of searching for a website and clicking on what Google returns, in past years, sometimes the very first choice is a paid advertisement kind of thing, and I found those to be untrustworthy over the years. Yes, I agree. Yes, built-in scanner app in Windows from Greg M. But it was Chris that did the book, wasn't it? Who did the book? Yeah, Chris Garrett here created a book with a PDF. So Greg M is saying built-in scanner app. Does that do PDF? Then you print to the built-in Microsoft PDF printer. Okay, so you scan it as a picture and then print it to PDF. So that gets it in PDF, but it's not actually a PDF document at that point. If you actually scan to a PDF document, then it's searchable as a text document. So I think the result would be a PDF of an image, PDF of a picture, and it's not searchable. Nick to Greg, this ends up being a problem because users get the fake computer, your computer's been hacked JavaScript and they fall for the scam. I've had to help a lot of people who fall for it. Diddle that. Here's Chris Garrett. The Windows Scan app is in the Windows Store. I have a paid PDF version of PDF Complete. PDF Complete is, yeah, you can buy that from the Windows Store, but that's not a Windows product. That's PDF Complete is a third-party product. PDF Complete is cheaper than Adobe. The scan app you showed was not. But PDF Complete is that's not a Microsoft product. I don't believe. That's a separate product. And if I go over here, PDF Complete, and I've used it, pdfcomplete.com. Yeah, you can get it through the Microsoft Store, but it's not a Windows program. Am I wrong about that? What about the credential manager? Cleaning this out can fix the problem sometime. Well, he's not having problems with logging into the site. The site won't come up. So I don't think that's his credential manager. I scanned to PDF. It's a PDF document. Yeah, Chris did, since you're using PDF Complete, that is a PDF document. But it's not a Windows PDF scanner, like you said up here. Created a PDF book of a scanner, went in and combined it. Let's see. Windows Scan app. Now, it wasn't a Windows Scan app. That wasn't from Windows. If other computers on his network have the same problem, I would believe that the computer is not the issue. I don't know that he's told us that. His neighbors using the same ISP don't have the same problem. I don't recall hearing that his other computers in his home have the same problem. If they do, then that would make me suspect the DNS settings on his router. If they don't, I'd expect the DNS setting that's on his own computer. He's already flushed the DNS. And then the other thing would be actually change the DNS settings manually on his computer to the 8.8.8.8, 8.8.4.4. In the trace route, hang on. In the trace route, I confirmed I'm unmuted. In the trace route command, before request timeout, there is akame.com. Oh, that's why Zavi was mentioning Akame. I think that's the right pronunciation. And what was he saying about Akame in the first comment? I think the Akame.com is responsible for advertisement links. Okay, this is a different situation. This is the Akame is what we're getting in the pinging for Greg's issue. The client of mine that was having the phony infection messages was looking for Amazon.com. So those are two different computers. Checking to see if Ken Stout has a show. He did not have a show set up when I checked earlier today. He does not have a show set up currently, so there's no redirect. Or wait a minute, does Carrie have a show? I'll go see if Carrie has a show. I could have done it by just going to look for his /live. Carrie has a show. All right, so I'll redirect to Carrie's show at his usual afternoon time. Then come back to the chat room. Yet they search for an issue and get tricked into phoning someone thinking it's official support and let them on their computer. Most of my clients call me when they get those messages and they've seen them enough that they know they are fake. Doug, should not he just try using Windows Troubleshoot for the network or internet settings to see what happens? Generally speaking, it does a reset. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think that's a good thing to do. Don't call it a reset. I'm old school. I say format and reload Windows. So this was referring to the Windows reset. If you do your Windows key and then reset this PC, You can reset the PC here, and you get a few different choices. And what Chris is saying, he's saying I should not call it a reset, but call it a reformat and reload Windows, or nuke and pave, or wipe and reload. Yeah, I agree with distinguishing between those two. But either of those are likely going to fix this issue, but that's a sledgehammer approach. I don't think he should be doing that. Bobby Warren says, maybe make it to the Zoom homies tonight. It's at 9 p.m. tonight. I guess he's saying he might make it to the Zoom homies tonight. Nick, what about the credential manager? Oh, I already read that one. And Randy Israel and ZV Minora show what the secondary is. And Cloudflare's of 1.1.1.1. Does Cloudflare have a secondary? I guess by the time you answer that in chat, I could just do a copy and paste, and see if they have a secondary. Seems like they do. I'm not seeing it offhand. See a lot of 1.1.1.1. Didn't see it. I didn't spot a secondary there. That's what I thought would be a good idea, to change the DNS. I scanned to the PDF. It's a PDF document. Yeah, I got that. Let's see. You can convert PDFs by dropping them into Word by using the Word icon on the desktop. Converts them into Word document for free. If you have Office, you can also save a Word document as a PDF. So let's see. If I start a blank document, hello world, and go to save as. You don't have to print to Windows PDF. You can save as, browse, and then come down here and directly save it as a PDF from Microsoft Word, if you have a current version of Microsoft Word, reasonably recent version. I did not buy PDF Complete from Windows Store. I got it from their website. You are confused. I thought you said Windows Store. Chris Garrett, the Windows Scan app is in Windows Store. I have a paid version of PDF Complete. All right, well, you're saying that in the same paragraph. Oh, all right, he's saying the Scan app is in the Windows Store. I have a paid version. So he wasn't saying he got PDF Complete from the Windows Store. The Scan app is in Windows without going to the store. It comes in Windows. You don't have to go to the store to buy it. So that's why you threw me there. And I'll go to the second instance. I'm confused because you confused me intentionally. I don't have a deadline. I'm 3 minutes past. Install and use a scanner in Windows 10. I don't know why you're giving me that link. Like you think I don't know how to install a scanner. Bill Binder, I know your name well enough. Yeah, I think you were here with us yesterday. Let's make you a moderator, shall we? Ping the IP address. If that works, it confirms it is the DNS not working. Wait, what? Ping the IP address. If that works, it confirms the DNS is not working. Really? Are you saying that backwards? Do you have a typo there? If pinging the IP address works, I see what you're saying. If you ping the domain name and it fails, and then ping the IP address, yeah, okay, you got it. I got you. Federal.org. If you're pinging Navy Federal, this is going to utilize DNS to find the IP address. If that fails, but pinging the IP address works, now, of course, if the ping of the URL failed, then it's not going to display the IP address because it's DNS that is translating this URL name to the IP address. So you would have to ping the IP address as provided by someone else, such as me. If this ping works, then that tells definitely Greg's computer is having a problem with DNS. whether it's Greg's computer or Greg's router or his ISP's somehow implementation of DNS. Good one. Good wording there, Bill. Took me a minute to get it, to comprehend it. Just in time for the big finish from Jeff Ryman. Joy Ryman. Oh boy. Doug, it's time for you to stop talking. Hi, caramba. Bobby Warren, will you try to make it? Oh, he's asking if I will try to make it to Ken's show tonight. Likely not. In the evenings, I am in severe unwind mode. If I come in and participate in Zoom, that's going to get my mind all wound up, and then I have a great difficulty getting to sleep. So, and I'm doing my evening stuff. No, just because it's earlier in the evening doesn't give me more time in my day. 1.0.0.1. That's right. That's the secondary for Cloudflare. So you could have said secondary, Cloudflare secondary is 1.0.0.1. Then I didn't have to decode that. Cloudflare agrees with RAN Israel for their secondary. You get it here. Yeah, there it is. Very good. Well, that's the IPv6 versions of it. Down here is the IPv4 versions of it. Zavi. It's the time to give our regards to Mini Red Doug. Mini Red Doug. Mini Red Doug. It means the Doug that read something. Is that what the mini Doug that read something? Time to give our regards to the Mini Red Doug. The Mini Red Doug. I saw a scan app in Windows Store and installed it. Ay caramba again. Hello, Mini Doug. Mini Doug is welcome to join the homies or in the chat room. What would be the fun in that? Complete sentences. You like to see me struggle. You like to see the struggle. And you know there are those who watch over my shoulder to see if I make errors, right? Wintermute, Microsoft Store data, Windows Scan. Oh, Windows Scan app is separate in the Windows Store. So what is this when I do Windows key and scan? Because I'm sure I've never installed that. Windows Fax and Scan is probably different than Windows Scan. Does this Windows Scan, it's free, you don't have to buy it. Does it scan to PDF? Oh yes, right here it shows that it scans to PDF. That would be useful to me because I occasionally come across a client who has a scanner that either they don't have the app from that scanner or we don't want to use it for some reason. So a Windows Store scan app that will scan to PDF, get in-store app, open Microsoft Store. I'm going to have to sign in and all that, right? Or I might sign in automatically since my computer does sign into Windows. So there's Windows Scan. I don't actually have a scanner connected to this computer. I do. Now I have a Adobe scan app on my iPhone that was free, and I can take a photo of something that's under that's and it does a beautiful conversion to PDF. Muting and unmute and check and confirm to get started. Connect a scanner. Yeah, I don't have a scanner, so that's as far as I got with that. Chris to Wintermute, that is the one. RAN Israel, I cannot confirm or deny. Bill Binder, cheers. Doug, cheers to you, my friend. Chris Garrett, that is the one that Wintermute's posted. Dennis, speaking to Doug 70 seconds ago, I'm usually in bed by 10 p.m. Eastern time. I think he's referring to what I was talking about. I'm in wind down mode in the evening, so it's going to be highly. I did notice that Ken's going to be starting at 6 o'clock my time. There may be occasions when I'll go in and join, but don't expect it. Don't count on it. In the evenings, I am in severe wind down. Actually, that's my dinner time. I'm making dinner, and sometimes I likely have Ken's show playing as I'm making dinner when he's starting at 6 o'clock. But no, I'm not going to be in Zoom. Highly rare. Speedy C, Doug, Red Doug, moving around on your desk. Red Doug moving around on your desk. Red Doug moving around on your desk. I'm Red Doug. I had red post-it notes. Is that what you're? One of these post-it notes says have the name Doug on it. No, no, it does not scan to PDF. I dreamed the whole thing. What doesn't scan to PDF? The one that's built into Windows doesn't, but the one from the store looks like it does. Selden Ball scanned to textual PDF has the problem that it depends on OCR software, optical character recognition software, so you do have to verify that it recognizes words and letters correctly. Now, is he talking about the one from the Microsoft Store? What was Selden recently talking about? Cloudflare agrees. Selden wasn't, actually, I don't think Selden was talking about one of the scanning softwares. OCR software typically comes, in my background, comes with a third-party scanning software or a third-party scanner. Brian, when Mini Doug appears on Jennifer's shoulder, then I'll be impressed. Oh, is that so? All right. Challenge accepted. Chris Garrett, I did not have to use OCR. I had no issues, just scan to PDF. Yeah, I've been able to scan, when I have scanning software that scans to PDF, I've been able to scan fine. Now, if it takes a picture, if you're scanning to an image and then converting using OCR software, that is flaky. Dennis will be testing Windows Scan from the Microsoft Store after your screen. Great. Thank you, Dennis. I'll be glad to hear the results of that. I'm talking about any scan to PDF application. Yeah, I disagree with that. I've done plenty of scan to PDF and not had to use OCR as a separate operation. Yeah, I've seen that work fine. As a matter of fact, I can do copy and paste, and it works beautifully. But if the original is a photograph or a picture image, that's where I've seen the problem happen. Doug, check router box / specs stand. He's asking me to check. Okay, I'll tell you what. If you want me to look at the switch box, give me a 1 in chat. If you want me to look at the specs stand, if you want me to turn and look at the specs stand, give me a 2 in chat. So 1 in chat if you want me to turn to look at the switch box. 2 in chat if you want me to look at the specs to see what you're calling Mini Doug. Brian Lightfoot is saying 3. Dennis is saying 1 and 2. Alice is saying 2. Speedy's saying is 1 and 2. And Greg is saying 6. Both 1 and 2. So if I turn to look at the switch box and the specs, you're saying that I'm going to see Mini Doug. There's the switch box. There's the spec stand. Now, the most interesting thing about that is that any of you thought that when I turned around, I would actually see red shirt Doug. You actually believed that, didn't you? Doug, turn and look at the switch box or the specs. Mini Doug is there. No, there's no mini Doug there. You actually thought I would see mini Doug sitting over there. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Goodbye.